Hello and welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast, your go-to place for everything Rocket League with your hosts, K-Cube, AJ Binky, and Red. So lean forward, lock in, and get ready to go Boost Over Ball.
Yes, I'm very aware that the sources are... There's no video source. That's the point. Okay. Here we are, another episode. Hello and welcome to the Boost Over Ball podcast. To listeners new and old, hello and welcome to the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm Kyle, K-Cube, and I'm joined by DJ TJ. What's up?
A pleasure to be back, dude. I think this is my fourth, I want to say, episode on, I think.
I think so too. This is a little bit different of an episode from what we normally do. We're not live streaming. This is audio only. It'll still get uploaded everywhere that it normally does, but we're pre-recording this like on the 17th of December, and this is going to go out the 27th, so like in a week and a half. But for everyone, I hope you had a fantastic Christmas. I hope everyone's having some good time with their family, with their friends, some downtime, and enjoying some good food. I know you for sure are going to enjoy the semester break, so hopefully that's been going well so far.
Yeah, I hope everybody is enjoying it because I know that a lot of my colleagues have been bending over backwards this last semester. I know a lot of recruitment's been going on. I mean, we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but CRL has been absurd. I mean, literally like 30 minutes ago, we just saw Cumberland's new roster, which they already announced Polar and Next, but now they have Nightya as their third, which is an incredible pickup. And that's just the start of it. So even over the holidays, it seems like only some of us are taking breaks.
Yeah, I mean, and also got to shout out Georgia college football playoff. So never really truly a break. Gotta keep cheering on that fandom. So congratulations on a college football playoff appearance at the very least, as we know of so far. But hopefully a deep run for them.
I like our chances. We'll see how it goes. I feel bad for Oregon. That's the main thing. But other than that, we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I kind of don't understand how they get top seed and they have the hardest run, and Penn State does not. But whatever.
I mean, Penn State's frauds of the century. But anyways.
Hey, I mean, I like as a Big Ten guy, I feel like Penn State has been rather unfortunate with the East-West Big Ten system that they had, right? So like they always had to play Ohio State and Michigan, and so like maybe they were the third best team in the Big Ten, but they were never gonna make the Big Ten championship game just because they had to play those two teams. So they're finally out from underneath both of them, and maybe they've built up some good karma, but I still don't think that they're gonna do everything that they want.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows indeed. But in today's episode, we'll be talking about CRL Nationals, doing a wrap-up from that. We talked before CRL Nationals and did like predictions and our thoughts and all that stuff, so we'll wrap that up. We'll talk about the team stream that you did. We'll give our thoughts again on FIFA E, the new free play update, and then do a wrap-up on NECC and ECAC and anything else Rocket League that we can think of in the meantime. But with that, are you ready to jump right in?
Yeah, dude, let's get it.
Okay, so CRL Nationals, they happened. There was a national champion crowned. First off, I have to get this out of the way before we talk anything else. Valk was right again. I hate when he's right, but he was. So congratulations to Valk. But now that that's over, we can actually, get on with what we're talking about. So I guess let's do, what were your thoughts on the playoff format, the single elimination best of sevens for CRL Nationals?
I keep going back and forth about the formatting things because we talked about this in the last episode where CRL was the main topic, and we talked about how the whole having double elimination, like this huge open qualifier, like we liked it but we didn't in some cases. I liked it up until I think that Akron game. I think every other game was cool, and I think for single elimination it makes sense. But that 4 and 5 seed game, I mean, dang, like that I hate it for Akron and or West Virginia, whoever lost that game, because those teams are easily top 4 contenders and arguably champion contenders, but they have to play each other first round, like no crazy warm-ups or anything, because every match was played back to back to back. And unfortunately for Akron, it went to 7. They had the lead 3-2 and then couldn't win those last 2 games. So it's a fun format, but competitively, it's tough.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like, maybe you look at doing something similar to how like RLCS Worlds did with kind of that like hybrid, like Second Life kind of situation. Maybe that could be pretty cool. But like, I mean, St. Clair Green was never going to stand a chance. Davenport, I'm impressed that they took a game off Maryville, but like realistically, like we went through and those were the three quarterfinal matches. We're like, yep, this is how it's going to go. Like in agreement within like 30 seconds. And then that
Yeah.
Akron West Virginia game was really the only game of the first round that was like going to be like up in the air. Right, it was like going to be a series, and go figure, that was the best. Almost the there's an argument to be made for Concord Maryville in the semis, but like arguably one of the best series of the entire event.
Yeah, I mean, it was absurd. I mean, I got to watch the Concord run live heading into that Maryville game, and I honestly, we were like watch partying the Maryville series before that match, doing it the day before, obviously, because I got the chance to do the Concord team stream, and we were definitely not concerned. Like Maryville did look rough in that Davenport series. Like, yes, it was 4-1, but I mean, we're talking every single game other than game 5 was within one goal. Actually, sorry. It was a 3-2, and then Davenport came back with a 3-0. Then it was 3-2 Maryville, 4-3 with an overtime, then 4-0, all in Maryville's favor. So honestly, like, they should have killed that Davenport roster, and I know that Davenport roster is talented, but for this level of CRL, I just don't think that they're ready yet. So Maryville looked rough, and I think that helps Concord a lot. And I mean, again, that series, absolute cinema, went all the way to 7, and then Concord just kind of locked in.
Yeah, I mean it. Like they, very fortunate that you picked a good team to team stream for, but they certainly looked lethal, especially in that grand final series. Even though they were close games, with an overtime in game 6, I really thought that Concord kind of had their number. Uh, Especially when Northwood's winning a game 1-0. That's like not like you're not going to be able to consistently do that throughout the whole event. But you mentioned the team stream. How did that come about? What was that experience like, especially team streaming for the eventual champions?
Yeah, I mean, so shout out to John. So John is the basically second man in command over at Concord. He's right under Austin, who is an incredible director. And I met John, it would have been almost a year and a half ago now, back at the very first Bluegrass Boost battle I did in Kentucky. And since then, like, we've kind of kept in touch. We've been definitely mutuals at the bare minimum. But then as this next school year got started and Concord announced its signings, obviously I met Helix as well the year before because he was on that roster, the old one. So when all that started to happen, I started talking with John again, like, major congratulations, stuff like that. And we kind of started finding ourselves in the same spaces a lot more, because Concord's been taking a lot of strides from a program perspective to be at the point where they are national contenders, not only on the pitch, but off it as well. They're nominated for multiple Scholastic Esports Awards for that reason. So we found a lot to talk about, me and John did. And then we met again at Bluegrass Boost Battle, and we had a really good time. Really got to have some great conversations and got to know John better. And then that was when I asked, hey, if y'all need a team stream, let me know. Because I just worked DreamHack the weekend before, and then BBB. And then I was like, well, for 3 and 4, I might as well try and do something major. And so that's how that started. And then obviously when championships got announced, I mean, I know I'm not going to be on mainstream, so I was like, why not ride this out, see how it goes, get some good content for both them and us. And the CRL admin did an incredible job of helping us out with that too. Gave us a live feed and everything, to pull from. That way we could have the gameplay live, because Concord actually played in their main arena in front of their program. So CRL sent us a live feed, so that helped them, helped me, and made the whole process easy. So John and CRL, both just an awesome group of people. All the administrators on both sides really wanted it to happen, and it just me in the middle. I mean, I was just in the right place.
That's awesome. Well, congratulations on the team stream. Congratulations to Concord on the national championship. But I think it's a good time to kind of shift focus a little bit and reflect on the semester as a whole for this one. So in my opinion, the announcement for CRL was a little bit late. It was at Worlds. We kind of had a rumblings from, for the entire weekend that this was going to happen, that this announcement was going to come out. But what were your thoughts on like, I guess, the later announcement of CRL and like how it ended up transpiring for your program and for the rest of the programs?
I'm a little hurt that the format didn't change, but also for a competitive standpoint, if we have Worlds, then I'm willing to forgive it because that means that they just wanted to make the most even playing field possible going into Worlds, which may have a new format, which again, praying for. So I was a little disappointed in that, but other than that, I mean, I'm just really happy that CRL is back. I know it's kind of the bare minimum, but Blast and Epic are so far so good, handling things really well, and they've actually put the right people in place, like Mateo, who's worked with CCA for years, I believe. He's incredible, and he was one of the biggest vouchers for my work as well. And he's always like him, even though he's at the top, he's always helping people out. He's responding to DMs, responding to tickets. So he's not bigger than all of us, and he realizes that, and he's very, very talented at what he does and thoughtful. So Epic's done a good job of just letting him do his thing, and then the powers that be above him have done a great job at controlling the prize pool and the funding, which I don't have a problem with any of the prizes really. Like the championship winner got 5K, the entire prize pool was 20K. I would be willing to maybe argue for a different split in the prizing, but I like 20K for the fall, and then obviously, hopefully, we get 20K in the spring, and then maybe it's like I mean, who knows? Maybe it's 40 or 50 for the Worlds, which would be fire, but I don't know. So format-wise, yes, it was late. The announcement felt forced. I also really like. I was at Worlds. We both were, and I hate that they did it on. It was Sunday morning, right?
Yep.
Yeah, like I'm just not a fan of that. Because obviously nobody was there. So like I didn't get to be there to have like a live reaction or get to hang out with any of my other collegiate people like Bass or Danger or any of them.
I mean, it was
Um
first thing Sunday morning as the broadcast opened, like for first touch, like pretty much like for
yeah.
like the pre-show basically.
Yeah, which I just, again, it's forced. I know it's not the main product, and I understand why it was put there, but it definitely could have been its own. It could have been its own thing, or it could have been halfway through Sunday, which is what I would have done if I was in that position. Like at some point between maybe after the first series. I mean, who knows? You have to have actual people there to create hype for it, and unfortunately, I think it kind of just got swept under the rug a little bit. But everything looks good. Obviously, we're seeing a lot of signings for the spring, so things are going to get really, really interesting very quick. I know Valk already has referred to it, but every day that goes by is another day that I hear another roster rumor for CRL. Like, it's worse than RLCS at this point. And so that's exciting, though. Like, having all this talent, no matter where it comes from, be in CRL and contribute to the scene, it's a lot of positives. And Maryville, I mean, they're two Europeans and a North American because I believe Knight's Canadian. Concord, obviously an American, and two Europeans. Northwood, All American. West Virginia, All American. I mean, other than St. Clair, every program is doing things right, in my opinion. Like, it's a good mixing of cultures, it's the college experience. Um, Concord's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and I joke with John and them about this, but they've built like such a strong family community that you could spend an entire day in the lab and forget that you're out there in Athens, West Virginia, because that's just the community and the atmosphere that they create. So these programs are doing a really good job, and I'll spin the block back on that one. St. Clair is doing a really good job with their program. I love Sean, who's their director. He's incredible. They are all Europeans though, so I have to make a comment, but
Yeah.
they're awesome and they're fun. I got to meet Shuffle. I got to meet Kipper, True, Fatal. Um, who else am I thinking of? Their academy coach, which I'm forgetting his name. I don't know why. I'm being a really miserable friend right now.
Um,
I cannot remember it. I'm trying to
well,
place it on
the
my.
gold roster is Vesh, Kristen, Barrist, and two Europeans and a Canadian. Um, that's
It's their academy team. I'm trying to remember who's with them.
I know
I'm just gonna go.
I'm trying to look
Dang,
on
I'm
their
Great Lakes page. I'm sure it's on here somewhere.
yeah.
I cannot believe that it slipped my mind like this. I know that there's Thermal Rex, who's a coach too, but he's not who I'm talking about. Oh man, this is gonna bother me.
Nitrix, Ducky.
No. I'm looking for St. Clair Academy just so I can find the name. Dang, I'm about to go to Twitter. This is killing me.
not
Like,
not
I'm delaying.
not going to their website.
I should have his Twitter. I just cannot. I literally am picturing him right now. I'm just trying to remember. Dang. Yeah, I'm losing it. Look at their website now. Now it's bothering the heck out of me.
It happens.
Like I'm literally staring at a picture of him. I just cannot remember his name. Anyways, we can come back to it. Probably can cut a lot of that out too. But but really big shout out to St. Clair and everything that they're doing. They're a really incredible group. And I'm actually against Nicholas, one of their leaders, in the Scholastic Esports Awards. So I got a lot of respect for them. And we'll see what happens. But yeah, no, I mean the championship format wise, the announcement, like, so be it. I'm pretty happy with how things are.
That's awesome. And then we talked about it a little bit at the beginning, roster rumors for CRL, people maybe not necessarily enjoying the break as much as they probably should be. It was announced the CRL for spring qualifiers start super early.
Yeah.
Like way earlier than they should be, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, that right there is the biggest issue with the announcement. I'm glad you brought that up because I've already talked about it so much that I genuinely forgot. Yeah, no, that's a problem. I believe it's the first week of January or second week of January.
So the Spring Open 2024, or I guess it'd be 2025 then, right? Yeah, and it's the 4th and 5th of January 2025. So we are 2.5 weeks. Well, it's they do opens on Friday, don't they?
Yes, I believe so.
So then we're like 17 days away from CRL starting for next spring, which, as you know, someone who is an enjoyer of CRL, super exciting. Don't have to wait very long to see more CRL level Rocket League. However, for the students, for the people that are involved in the programs, you're not even back from break yet, like at all.
I don't think anybody will be. I can't think of a single school that's going to be back. So that's just absurd to me. I don't really know, other than the only way that can be excused is because of RLCS. That's the only reasoning, which I get it, because if you look at the top of CRL, I mean, dang, like they kind of have no choice but to start early. It's mainly the Europeans that I'm worried about, because I think all the American teams are going to get right back to scrims like almost right after Christmas anyways, if they're not scrimming right now. So I don't think it's going to matter for them, but like for the Europeans who have to come back probably an extra 2 weeks earlier than what they're supposed to be, and then just kind of be on campus for however long, it's kind of crazy. So yeah, I don't really know. It's going to cause a lot of programs some money and some other problems, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what the reasoning is other than RLCS.
So after doing a little bit of digging, RLCS 2025 NA Open number 1 is the 10th, and is the 10th through the 19th of January. So the 10th will be the Open qualifiers, and the 19th, like, so the weekend of the 10th and the 11th and the 12th is Open qualifiers for top 16, and then to my understanding, the 17th, 18th, and 19th is top 18 or top 16 quarterfinals, and then Championship Sunday. So it looks like double elimination is the 10th and the 11th. Swiss stage is the 12th. 32 teams Swiss stage. Group stage for 16 is group of 16 is the 17th, and then the playoffs are the 18th and the 19th. So it certainly seems like RLCS is the reason for such a short turnaround. But like, I feel like I almost rather would switch that, right? Because the pro players for RLCS have been technically in off season since the conclusion of Worlds in September, whereas the collegiate teams, especially teams that made it to Championship Sunday for nationals, have been playing since the middle of November.
Yeah. I mean, being completely honest, like if I'm on the Blast team, like RLCS doesn't have a set timeline in terms of like it, the bounds it has to follow. Like CRL can't start in June. Obviously other than summer, which is a whole different story. But in terms of the actual main CRL league, like it's not like fall could start in June or spring could start in like October. So I think with that, I agree with you. Like they have to realize that you have to stick to a timeline. I mean, I'm doing some research right now, and the range from 2023, from spring 2023, because that's the only date I can find right now. The range of starting dates for universities was either as early as January 3rd or as late as January 26th. So some teams will be back on campus 3 weeks, just about, before they actually start classes. So yeah, it's inexcusable. It's a little absurd.
And I mean, also like you mentioned, like some of these European players that are going home to, see their families and just be back in their, at home region, I guess, home country. Maybe that's the best way to say it. But that's tough. And then it's going to be difficult to ask them to come back as early as you are suggesting, because like teams are going to want to get scrims in, teams are going to want to get, some practice in, for teams that don't have their rosters set yet. Like that's a lot of time between, like I know some schools that are going through till Friday is their last day, but for most schools it was last Friday. That's a lot of time. Like or I mean, kind of a little bit less than a month, but like for tryouts to happen, for new rosters to gel, for players to be able to play, and then also enjoy the break that they're getting, because they are full-time students, right? And whether or not you think that they're going to use their degree similar to like some professional or like some like college football people, like they're not just there to go to school, they're there to be athletes. But like I would contend that they need the break just as much as everybody else does.
Yeah. I mean, it's absurd. I mean, CRL is changing rapidly, so I can understand it for this time around, but I think at this point you just kind of have to, if you're Epic, you just got to take it on the chin, and just kind of move on. So I hate it, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned it earlier. The like, it's the bare minimum, but like at least we have it back, right? At least it exists. And so like I'm kind of in the same situation as I was for like RLCS for the last season. It's like, okay, it's the first season from Blast. Like they're really feeling it out, finding their way. And like we've already gotten some positive announcements from the RLCS, for the upcoming RLCS season. They released every single date for every single event for the entire season already. For RLCS, and so for that's exciting. That's a lot of communication and transparency that we've never gotten before. So people can start to make plans. It's rumored where the major number 2 and where Worlds are, so like people can start to figure it out. So like seeing that, I have hope for CRL, that like they wanted to bring it back for this year, for this school year, and so they're doing everything that they can. Like even if it feels like it's shoehorned in there, even if it's like kind of an afterthought, it's a good place to start from, right? So then I hope that they can take what they've learned from this season and apply it moving forward, so that they can make a better product, for next school year, or for next semester moving forward. So I'm hopeful that this is a good sign, but like you said, still feels a little bit rushed.
Yeah. I mean, time will tell. That first open is going to be rough. I think we're going to see a lot of upsets, more than what's average with that double elimination format. So I'm expecting some crazy things to happen, and it might ruin some team seasons. But for the sake of the top 8, top 4, we'll pray for them and see what happens.
We will indeed. Next up on the docket, FIFA E. So, I mean, we've here on the show we've talked this to death a little bit, but I boiled it down to a couple talking points. First of all, what did you think of it? It's hard to call it a best of two, but what did you think of the 2-game series that they played for the group stages?
So I'm gonna be echoing a lot of what Twitter said when it was all said and done. It works for this event. It works for a one-off. It works for the off season. But my God, if this was an actual consistent thing, it's gonna be a problem. Best of four. I actually look the whole like draw concept. I actually don't mind that. I'm a big fan of it for FIFA trying to appeal to a more traditional audience. I think it makes perfect sense. But best of two for Rocket League just doesn't make any sense. It's way too short. Yes, you see upsets and yes, things happen, but like I mean, we watched England lose an entire day 3 or I guess playoff spot to South America, who never even got a win but got a draw right there. One of their 2 draws, by the way. And then the U.S., I mean, that right there was a little more of just kind of skill diff, but came down to a really close series. I just think that those moments deserve best of fours, whether it was to save a team or whether it was to give a lower team even more of a chance to impress. But also for the emerging of talent across the world. I mean, best of four gives all these teams much more experience, much more time to actually learn within the series and grow from it, more film to go over. So I really don't see how it's a lose-lose with the best of four. But, best of two happened. Some crazy upsets happened, and so be it. But hey, at least for playoffs, they did it pretty smack dab how it should be. Best of 7, single, very entertaining.
Yeah, I mean, I personally think that the draw concept is unique for Rocket League. I think that after it got explained to people, and after you kind of got over your initial like, how the hell can you have a tie in Rocket League? I thought it was a cool system, especially for the way that the groups shook out. I agree, a best of 4 would have been even more entertaining. You get really like difference in the game differential, which was the main tiebreaker that they used, and it could have added more dramatics to an already pretty dramatic tournament. It was announced that Rocket League will be back at the FIFA E World Cup next year. So for that's exciting to see that this kind of event is going to be hopefully a mainstay in RLCS off seasons for years to come. It certainly will create more storylines and hopefully some fantastic Rocket League down the line, and the emergence of more talent and the development of more talent. But from the format, like you mentioned them in when you were talking about the format, based on the roster that the U.S. sent, do you think that they underperformed or underachieved?
I'm not upset. That's a really, really tough pull of a group. Obviously, having France a guarantee, Brazil a guarantee, Morocco one of the biggest sleeper teams of the whole thing. I think they were easily a guarantee. I mean, you put Nas and Drawley on the same team. The Chile loss, that hurt. That definitely sucked. And also, if you look at that Group B, I mean, it is such a large divide. Like it is 11 wins, 9 wins, 8, 7, 6, and then 2, 1, and 0. So the U.S. just had to win that Chile match, and unfortunately, that right there was going to be for the 4 seed, I think, going into it. So I think given the circumstances, I'm not upset. They definitely could have done it. They definitely could have made it to playoffs, but I don't think they would have survived the first round. So at the end of the day, I don't think it makes a huge difference, but I'm proud of Reddles and them for stepping up, especially when, I mean, there's a lot of discrepancy, a lot of debate over what happened with the G2 roster, and I think that I don't know what was confirmed or not confirmed, but some people wanting to play, some not. I don't know. For me personally, if I'm representing my country and getting the chance to do so, I think I'm taking it without a shred of doubt. But that's why I'm even happier that someone like Reddles got to be a spokesperson.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, like, so we saw, we talked about it a little bit before. Beast mode, building a house, got stuff to do IRL. I don't fully get it, but like at least that's like I understand. So that leaves Daniel and Atomic. Daniel and Atomic competed in Saudi Arabia already this calendar year at Esports World Cup, and they competed with NAS, and they did pretty well. They showed a desire to go, to fly across the world and to play, and I see no reason why they wouldn't have wanted to do it again this time. There's only one difference between NAS and this, esports, the FIFA E World Cup, and that would be First Killer. So, notably, I'm not a big First Killer fan, but it certainly seems to me, reading between the lines, that was the stumbling block for this team. But it seems to be solely an NA problem, right? Like, why is it only a problem for US players that they don't want to compete? Why do they not want to participate in off-season events? Why is it so hard? Orgs have talked about it to get them to do brand activations, to get them to stream, to get them to show up to things. Like Farah talked about it, and he's like, if I didn't show up to an event that Carmine Corp was running, my contract would be terminated yesterday.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this on the podcast before too. It's a culture problem. I mean, this goes back to just forming teams in North American qualifiers. It's just we have this problem of effort and dedication, which I understand for maybe the top 32, maybe the top, like 100, whatever the heck. But for top like 8, top 4, I mean, it's your job. You're making money. You're doing what you're supposed to do given your skill set and representing an org or winning good amounts of cash and playing RLCS. I don't understand why representing your country's official organization is where we draw the line. I mean, it went all the way down to basically the bottom of the top 4, grabbing Reddles, Magic, and Cheese, which I can say this. I think the only player chemistry-wise that I think it makes sense that he didn't accept, I think it was First Killer. I think the fact that First Killer didn't accept means that whoever was supposed to team with him, he probably wasn't a fan of. And especially somebody like him, maybe he feels like he's got nothing to prove. I mean, I'm speculating here.
Right.
But maybe he feels like he's got nothing to prove, but it would have been nice to have him. And again, I just think it's a culture thing. I don't think there's a lot of nationalism within esports in the US.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a shortfall of the US as a region personally, or for NA as a region, right? Because like you look at Canada, and Canada would have trotted out, Squishy, oh my god, JNaps, and someone like not any of the young players, but one of the older ones, one of the older players, and like maybe that's an upgrade over like South Africa or Turkey especially maybe, but who brought a content creator as their third. But like even still, right? Like I feel like they should be doing more qualifiers. I feel like they should be taking this more seriously. And it's easy for me to say, sitting up in my ivory tower, so to speak, and saying, well, if Team USA, called and or knocked on the door, and I would answer in a heartbeat, because I don't have the same skills that they do, and I don't play Rocket League as much as they do, right? But I don't understand how, at worst you're getting a free trip to Saudi Arabia, to Riyadh, to compete for your country. You get to wear, the Stars and Stripes. You get to wear, these jerseys that have the Rocket League logo, or like that have Rocket League branded on them. Like, I don't understand. But that's maybe there's got to be a lot more to it, and there's a lot of nuances that I don't understand, that I will never understand. But it just is boggling to me.
Yeah, I would hope that with how social media reacted, and maybe it was just the timing. Like maybe if Beast Mode said yes, maybe that would have been the catalyst. But I think it's just something to look back on. So far, from what I've seen, based on the teams being announced for the off season and for the future RLCS, like the actual 2025 season, I think NA is slowly getting there. I think a lot of the old guard, quote unquote, who might have been more gatekeepy, which I don't really have names to throw out, so I don't even want to start on that topic. But I think that we're finally seeing a change in demographic and a change of understanding in what esports and Rocket League is to our community specifically. So I got faith, but it's definitely, it's only the start. We're still in it for the long run.
Yeah, for sure. And then last but certainly not least, for FIFA E, I gotta give a little bit of credit where credit is due. Congratulations to Team Falcon, Saudi Arabia, for winning the FIFA E World Cup, and the Falcons team for finally winning a grand final. they showed up in dominant fashion and they dismantled everybody on their way to a World Cup championship here for them. So congratulations to Saudi Arabia. I can't believe that they finally did it.
Yeah, I'm very happy for them. I mean, they really deserved it. Like you go back and you look at the MVPs. I mean, shoot, there was 5 MVP awards given out on 4 different days, and 4 of them went to Saudi Arabia, and TRK won 2 of them. So that's crazy to me. It's absurd. But that team, they've been ready for the spotlight all their lives. They just needed time to get used to it, and they've killed it. They made France look absolutely miserable on the field, which I still like. I watched that live, watched the semis, and I watched that grand live, and I have never seen a French team in general. Like Gentlemates, Carmine, Vitality, like I've never seen a team look that hopeless on the field. And after they lost, I think what was it, a 6-minute OT? No, 8 minutes. Sorry, it was actually an 8-minute 52-second OT. After that 1-0, I think it was over. And it also doesn't help that we saw a 3-minute OT the moment after that, and then lo and behold, of course, France lost that too. I mean, you could give them one of those 2 OTs, and I think we're going to 7. But I think after a combined play time of basically 20 minutes of combined play time in 2 games, all basically in a row with no timeouts. Yeah, it was chalked. I don't even think Farah could have helped out. So unfortunate, but they deserve it. Shout out to Saudi.
Yeah. Well, the last 2 topics we got here are NECC and ECAC. You mind doing a wrap up for us? What you thought about these seasons, and what you liked, what you didn't like, and where we're sitting at for next semester.
Yeah, I'll start with the expected. So Concord was in both of them. Now here's the unexpected. Concord lost both of them. So it was Northwood v Concord in NECC Division 1. Northwood beat them, I think it was in 5. I think they beat them 4-1. And that was on December 5th. So that was crazy. Is that Concord? I know they took a break after CRL. And these other leagues are kind of just like external for them. Like they're more practice than they are the main deal, like main show. So for them, I understand maybe why there was a little bit of lack of performance, but I didn't expect it in the style that this series came in. I got to watch a little bit of it live. I was out of town that day, so I was just kind of watching on my phone. Northwood just looked better. That's just how it was. Concord just kind of struggled, wasn't looking as connected, had a few misplays, and of course Northwood. I don't think they've stopped scrimming yet. I think Northwood has continued to scrim like 3-4 times a week based on how I saw them play since CRL. I think they're going to come into the spring even hungrier than they were in the fall. They had their really, really perfect stride in November, kept that going in December, and now we get to see them in Texas. So we'll see them at a wow, why am I forgetting wait, nope, not NECC. There's too many dang acronyms. We'll see them at CECC. That's what we'll see them at. So it'll be fun to see. I will say this too, Concord is almost guaranteed to also make it to CECC because their little Division 2 conference, I think it's called the ECC, the Eastern Coast Conference. I believe that they just got approved for a CECC bid this past semester. And I mean, Concord's the only team with anybody above GC2 in that league. So they're going to be just fine. They'll get the run back, and they'll also get the NECC spring season as well. So CECC looks incredible. And then ECAC, I could not tell you what happened here. Ball State wins over Concord in 7. I truly, truly am confused by that one.
Confused by it. Ball State is a top 8 CRL contender.
Okay, but we have to be honest. But we have to be honest. The top 3 is very, very different from the top 8. And also, Ball State, if I'm going off of paper, what's on paper, what's the predictions, Ball State did not deserve that top 8 spot. Fisher lost to Akron Gold, and if they and Illinois State lost in the in the Open 4 playoffs too. If either one of those teams would have won an extra series, we wouldn't have seen Ball State there. So for them to come back and show everybody that, hey, we're still on this, it's crazy. Now, I also will say this. NECC was December 5th. This was December 4th. So I have to be honest, I think this screwed over Concord's mentality. I think they were looking forward to a long break, and I think they're going to be okay in the long run. But for Ball State, I mean, that's a good, really, really good title win. And I believe that also gives them the spot in a CECC. I don't know exactly how the ECAC bid works, but yeah, so that's crazy. That's absurd. So congrats to Wova and the boys. I love that guy. So they deserve it.
Oh yeah. Well, looking forward to hearing more about CECC and many of the other 4-letter acronym league names that pop up. It seems like there's a never-ending amount.
There's always something. Always something.
But last but not least, one of the biggest updates to Rocket League in seemingly years happens. The online free play, the split shot, the arcade modes, Winterfest, new season, new Rocket Pass, all at the same time. What are your thoughts on this update specifically, like on the online free play?
I mean, Winterfest is always one of my favorite seasonal Rocket League updates. The history of items, it used to be really good. I still have those iced out K2s, that I believe, or like not the normal K2s, but they were like a holiday
Like
version,
the
I think.
frosted ones or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because I said that and I was like, wait, they already are kind of iced.
No, I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I hate that item wise we didn't really get a lot. There is a title that's iced up. That's fire. I like that. But outside of that, it's kind of whatever. The holiday, the gifts, I forget what they're called exactly. I think they're literally called holiday gifts. But they're actually solid. I've had good pack luck so far, so I can't complain. And I haven't seen people complaining about them either, so that's good. But it's kind of a hit or miss event. Online free play is fun. I've seen a few like coaches who coach like champ teams using online free play to like drill shots and drill passes and stuff. So online free play is useful, but it's not useful to the 1%. So I think that's why Twitter wasn't a huge fan of it when it was announced originally, and then when it actually came out. But from like a base, like my work, like in high school esports, like it's good. It's useful, and there's a way for me to now basically make layup lines in Rocket League, which is fire. Now, granted, we need shared training packs. That's what we really need. We need online free play training packs that players can rotate through and switch out. We really need that. And then once that happens, I think all we need is a coaching spot for RLCS and we'll be all right. So like the in-game spot.
Yeah.
So I think other than that, that's really good. Step in the right direction. I don't know yet. Because this update, it's very, very lacking in some aspects from a content side. I'm going to be honest, the split shot game mode just isn't, I don't enjoy it. I don't know what it is about it. It's just not what I envisioned, and it's not like when I actually play it, it's just not something I enjoy too much either. Maybe I haven't been playing with the right people, but that's just kind of my thoughts on it. So we're in the right direction. We're getting new game modes. We're getting original content. There's some very cool, like the tournament rewards are kind of okay, but the black market's not bad. So there is good positives in this update, but I just need to see something more influential, something more impactful, something more thoughtful. Like I don't know how we still haven't gotten volleyball. Like I the fact that we got split shot before volleyball kind of bothers me a little bit.
I'm still hopeful that split shot is the predecessor to volleyball in Rocket League.
Yes, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that this is a test run. Because obviously in the volleyball mode, you can't go on the other half, you can't spawn on the other half, or like you can't like ride on the walls on the other half. So I think literally split shot, you take half the wall down and it's volleyball. Well, and you actually make the wall like you can hit it. So it's got potential. I hope volleyball's next, but who knows?
I could see them doing that for like a summer, like the summer bash or radical summer or whatever summer game they tried to do. Like instead of doing beach ball, you could do volleyball. That's my own like personal like little prediction I have.
Yeah. I mean, they can go a lot of directions, so it's good. There's actual options for new game modes, which is fire. But it's got to actually happen, and that's, who knows how that's going to end up. So they got options, but they got to make something happen.
Yeah, for sure. But that was kind of all of the topics that I had for today. Kind of a whirlwind of things that we had to talk about, but it seems like the off season that kept on giving is finally getting ready to be done giving for the year. But just in time, because we have CRL coming up, we got our LCS coming up, and a few others. But was there anything else that you wanted to talk about before we wrap up for today?
No, I mean, it's been a good fall. It's been a lot of fun. By the time that this episode comes out next week, the entire collegiate world will know that I'm giving one of the 10 keynotes for the Scholastic Esports Awards. So that's awesome. And also, I don't think I told you this, Kyle, but I'll be looking for scholarship opportunities, and maybe potentially transferring out of UGA. So there's a lot going on in my personal career. I'm just very happy that I still get to be a caster, still get to run my program here at UGA and make impact on students' lives. And I hope to continue to do that no matter where I'm at. So yeah, it's gonna be a fun next month or two, and then we'll see how things carry on for the rest of the season.
Hell yeah. Well, where can people find your stuff? How can people support you? What's the best way to do that?
At DJTJRL. That's the socials on everything. I finally have a business email, so for those of you looking for casting, tournament organization, or whatever the heck under the sun, production, team management, DJTJcast with an S at the end at gmail.com. That is my business email. So yeah, so professionally or socially, I'm around.
Hell yeah. Well, thank you for taking the time, as always, to come on and talk with us. Always exciting hearing from you and hearing about all the fun things that you get to do. But I think we're about ready to wrap up for today's episode. So we'd like to thank everyone so much for listening. We'd like to please remind everyone to rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. Share the show, tell a friend. It all helps us grow our audience and improve the show. Remember to follow us on Twitter, Instagram, Blue Sky, TikTok, and Twitch, which we are normally live streaming on. And come join our Discord. Make sure you support us by checking out our merch store, and our Patreon that is how we fund the show. And hopefully we'll be doing some big giveaways in the future, maybe even hosting some tournaments, who knows. All of these links and more can be found on our website at boostoverball.com. And from us here on the show, as always, remember to choose Boost over Ball.
Thanks for listening to the Boost Over Ball podcast. Make sure to check out our website at boostoverball.com.